started drugs when I was 12, and I got addicted to it. And I'm still doing it. Now I'm in the 8th grade.
We wanted to be like all the high school kids that went out and got drunk and smashed up their cars.
I guess every time I see him on alcohol, I guess I wanted to be just like him.
What is the real truth about alcohol and other drugs? What happens to you when you take them? How do they destroy your dreams and goals in life? Narconon has been providing that answer for years. The Narconon All-Stars are proof that success can be achieved by leading a drug-free life. Here to tell the truth about drugs is Narconon's top instructor, Mr. Bobby Wiggins.
I'm going to start this off with what I call a communication drill. Just a little drill to kind of get everybody here and involved, so I'm just going to ask all of you to do a few things for me. First thing I'd like you to do is to look at someone near you. Well, all right. Now look at another person near you, a different one. Great. Now shake one person's hand. Find a person and shake their hand. All right, very good. Now shake two people's hands at the same time. Great. Now give one person a high five. All right. Now say hello to one person. All right. Now say hello to another person. All right. Now find a person far away from you and say hello to them. All right. Now all together, stomp your feet 3 times. Great, everybody, look at the ceiling. All right, look at that wall. Excellent, look at that wall. Very good. Now all together, look right up. Ow. Here. Thank you very, very much. That's the end of the drill, and this is the start of the drug talk. I got a question very fast for everyone. Who can tell me what the most popular drug in America today is? Yes?
Marijuana.
Good guess. Marijuana. Anybody else got another guess? Yes, sir.
Cocaine.
Cocaine. Another excellent guess. Yes.
Crack.
Crack. Another good guess. All great guesses, but guess what? We still don't have it yet. Yes, right here.
Whiskey.
Aha. Very, very close. The most popular drug.
Alcohol.
Aha. She got it. Give her a hand. All right. The most popular drug in America today actually is alcohol. But incredibly enough, almost every place I go, that's the very last thing that anybody guesses, because most people really don't think that alcohol is a drug. I did this very same talk at a high school one time. There's about 450 kids there, so I looked out and I said, who can tell me what the most popular drug in America today is? And somebody said crack. Somebody else said cocaine. Somebody else said marijuana. Finally, somebody said alcohol. I said, that's right, the most popular drug in America today is alcohol. And there was a girl in the front row of the audience, high school girl, probably around 17 years old, and I swear to you, I swear she went just like this. She went. Alcohol? Alcohol's a drug? Many people, they don't even really think of it as being a drug, and there's a very good reason why. But in order to describe this reason, I'm going to need your help here. You guys want to kind of make a game out of this? Is that okay? Yeah! Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shout out a saying, and if you know the end of the saying, just shout it back. In other words, I'm going to say the first part of the saying, and if you know the last part, shout it back as fast as you can. No, you don't have to make the shoo noise, but you can if you want to, I guess. Okay, here we go. Here's the first one. Are you all set?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Nothing beats a... Wow. One more time. Nothing beats a... Not bad. One more. This one's a little tougher. Why ask?
Why?
Try, bud.
Why?
What'd you guys do? Make these commercials or what? One more. This one's even harder. I don't know how many of you will get this one. Y'all set?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. It's it and...
That's that. Budweiser.
Down in New York City, there's a street called Madison Avenue, and on this street they make billions of dollars every single year just to sell stuff. They advertise. Unfortunately for our country, the very, very best, the funniest, the most colorful, the most action-packed, the most expensive commercials are... Alcohol. Right. These commercials are so incredibly... Well, I'll tell you what. For about the next 4 minutes here, I want to show you what amazing impact these commercials actually have in our lives. But in order to do that, once again, I'm going to need your help here. This could be a lot tougher. I'm going to start describing a commercial, and I don't think this commercial is even on TV anymore, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe the first scene, then the second scene, then the third scene, then the fourth scene, then the fifth scene, and what I want you to do is if you recognize what I'm talking about, you don't have to know the brand name or anything like that, but if you recognize what I'm talking about, raise your hand and keep it up in the air. I do want to give you a little background to this before I do it. I did this very same thing to a group of people. There were 52 people there. And I described this whole commercial from the first scene in very careful detail all the way to the last scene. And I got to the last scene, I looked out at the audience, and out of 52 people, only one person raised their hand. The rest of them kind of looked at me like I had 3 heads. Now these people were all over 21 years old. Want to see how you guys do? Yeah! Okay. Commercial starts out like this. There's this group of kind of rugged, sort of good-looking guys, and they're walking through a swamp. They're stepping over these alligators, and there's this snake overhead, and, you know, they're... Wait a minute, all I gave you was a swamp, for crying out loud. Okay, keep your hands up high if you think you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to keep going here. So the guy in the front, he stops, and there's this branch in his way, so he pulls the branch out of his way, and he looks across the swamp, and there, in the middle of the swamp, are 10 beautiful women. Well, you guys really recognize these women, huh? Oh, I think most everybody has it, but I'm going to keep going here. You can fill in the blank if you want to. All of a sudden, the guy, he decides he's going to go over and he's going to visit the women, so he goes to step in the swamp, and he almost gets bit by an... alligator! His buddies pull him back, but he gets a bright idea. He reaches in his backpack, and he pulls out a... He pops the top in the swamp. I think we got it here. Well, I find this kind of incredible. Well, who can tell me real quickly what the legal drinking age in California is? Yes?
21.
21 years old. Whenever I do this to a group of people that are older than 21, they're all looking at me like, what's wrong with this guy? When I was in Boston this past week, I tried this with a 2nd grade. I said, nah, they'll never get it. By the time the guy stopped and he pulled the branch out of his way, the second scene of the commercial, 90% of the 2nd grade were like, oh yeah, Miller. It's like a feeding frenzy of sharks or something, you know? Well, I used to figure this is probably because the younger the person, the more TV they watch, but I figured that way actually until a few months ago. Something happened to me one night that completely changed my mind. I'm out in my living room, I'm sitting there doing some paperwork, and all of a sudden, that commercial comes on. How many of you ever noticed, by the way, when they put a commercial on TV that they raise the sound, the volume goes up? Anybody ever see that before? Okay. Well, anyway, the sound goes up, my head snaps up, I start watching this thing, and the guys come across, you know, and next thing you know, there's all these beautiful women, you know, they're dancing all over the place, you know. Oh yeah, and there's some music that goes along with it, and I can't sing it all, but it goes something like, Mississippi Queen, or something like that. Anyway, I'm sitting over here, I'm doing my paperwork. It just so happens my 1.5-year-old son, he never watches TV. I'm not kidding you, not even Sesame Street. He just doesn't pay any attention to it. This night, my son, he's way out in the middle of the kitchen. He's sitting there in the middle of the kitchen floor. He's kind of playing with his toys and whipping them around, having a pretty good time. I'm sitting over here, you know, and this thing's getting a little louder, you know, and Mississippi Queen, you know. Well, all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see this shadow. So I looked over, and coming out of the kitchen, in through the living room, is my 1.5-year-old son. He's got a bottle of juice in his hand. He goes something like this. He goes, He walks up to the TV screen. He gets about this far away from it, about 1.5 feet away, and his eyes are glued to that thing, you know? And the guys are running around, you know, and the girls are dancing, you know? Mississippi Queen. Well, all of a sudden, my son, he goes just like this. He goes... He starts dancing, you know, and he's having a great time. I'm sitting over there and I'm watching him. I'm laughing. I think that's pretty cute. But then all of a sudden, the commercial ends. And my son, he goes just like this. He goes... And he walks back out into the kitchen like nothing ever happened. Really. I'm sitting over here like this and I'm going, what the heck was that? I'm over here minding my own business. The next thing you know, I got a dancing baby in the middle of my living room. Well, then all of a sudden, it hit me. I said, wait a minute. Tyler can't read or write. He doesn't even understand words. But what he does understand are pictures or music. And I began to see and hear what my 1-year-old son was seeing. What he saw were these real healthy, rugged-looking guys. And he saw these real healthy, and I mean real healthy, beautiful women, you know, and they're dancing all over the place. And everybody's laughing, they're shouting, they're having a great time, but every 5 seconds they go like this. They go, Miller. 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 And my son's standing here and he's going. Well, a thought occurred to me, and I'll ask you guys. If Tyler, if he's exposed to those images when he's 1 year old, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. By the time Ty gets to be about 13, what's he probably going to think about alcohol? Bad or good?
Bad.
If he sees all healthy people drinking it, will he think it's bad or good?
Good.
I don't believe in standing up and preaching about alcohol, and I'll tell you why. Because usually if you tell somebody not to do something, what do? Do it. Right. But there is one thing I decided to do a long time ago, and that was to relay one piece of information to you guys that I felt was important, and it actually helped me to make a better decision about that particular drug. Anybody in here know how they make alcohol? Anybody got an idea how they make it? Yes.
They make stuff to kinds of soda.
Okay, good guess. Good guess, yes.
I think they rot vinegar.
Very close. Matter of fact, you came closer than most high school students would. That's very good. What they do is this. Watch this real closely. This could be an important piece of information. Some of you might not believe this, but I swear to you, it's true. All they do is this. They take a great big, huge, giant barrel that's open at the top, and they dump some kind of food in there, like grapes for wine, or barley for beer, or potatoes for vodka. They dump all this food in, they add some water, and then they mash it all up. Now what you got is a bunch of mashed up food in the bottom of the barrel. Somebody comes along and they put a flame under it. And it starts cooking. Well, they let it cook for a little while, and then somebody else comes along and they shut off the flame. Then what they do is they let all the food just kind of sit there. Then they let it sit there for a few days longer. Then they let it sit there for a few weeks longer. Until after a while, all the food starts to rot. Wouldn't be alcohol if it didn't rot. It gets a little more rotten, and a little bit more rotten, and a little bit more rotten, until after a while what you got is a bunch of dead, rotted food in the bottom of the barrel. Then guess what they do?
Take a drink.
Good guess, but not yet. They let it sit there a little while longer. As a matter of fact, the longer it sits there, the more you pay for it. It would be kind of like this. Suppose I had a bunch of bananas and I picked a banana off the bunch, and I walked over and I handed it to you, and you were over here and said, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. But you were busy helping your mother clean up the kitchen floor, so you took the banana and you stuffed it in your pocket like this, you know. And you're over here cleaning away, all of a sudden, whoops, you realize you're going to squish it, so you take the banana out of your pocket and you walk over and you set it on the windowsill in the kitchen. And you go back and you're cleaning up the floor. There's just one problem here. It's the middle of June, and it just so happens that this is the day that you're leaving. Your mother comes in, you know, she starts asking, next thing, hurry up, you know, next thing you know, out the door you go. And you forget all about the banana. Now it's about 2 months later. You come back home, it's the end of August, you know, you come back home, had a pretty good summer, you open up the front door, you walk in the living room and go, yeah, all right, great summer. Whoa. Ma, did you let a dog in here or what? What's that smell? All of a sudden you happen to look over into the kitchen and you go, never mind. I found it. Well, you really don't want your mother to deal with this, right? So you get a little brave and you kind of sneak over into the kitchen and you kind of sneak up on the banana and you pick it up. Doesn't quite look the same as when you left, you know? And you take and you flick off a couple of the maggots that are crawling all over it there. And once you get the last one off, you peel down an end of the banana and you take a great big bite of it. What is about to happen will totally amaze you. Somewhere in the next 4 or 5 minutes, you're going to start to feel just a little tiny bit dizzy. And the next thing you know, you're going to start to feel kind of you're going to feel drunk because the banana will actually make you drunk. But then about 5 minutes later, your stomach will start to tighten up. And a few minutes later, your mother will probably call the ambulance to take you to the hospital.
I didn't like the way I felt. It made me feel even worse than when I wasn't drinking. So I just decided, I didn't want to end up being a drunk.
That's all alcohol is dead, rotted food. It actually is a poison. This liquid separates from all the dead, rotted food. Now you get this dead, rotted liquid sitting on top of the dead, rotted food. They take that dead, rotted liquid, they skim it off the top, and guess what? It's the right beer. Now. At any rate, that's what alcohol is, and that's what it does. I got a quick question. Are y'all having a pretty good time with this talk? Yeah! All right, very good. I like to keep these nice and light, and I like to goof around and have a little bit of fun with them, because what the heck, I think that's probably the best way to do it. Sometimes that does get misunderstood, though, and I really don't want it to be like that. 5 of my very, very close friends did die from taking drugs. I had a friend who died at 16 in a car accident because he was drinking alcohol. Another friend of mine, his heart exploded when he was taking cocaine. Another friend of mine got shot with a shotgun. 2 other friends of mine died of drug overdoses. Myself, I was in 22 different car accidents, 2 head-on car collisions, all because of drugs, and I'm very, very lucky to be here today to talk to you. At any rate, I do want to kick back for just a moment and just check and see if anybody has any kind of a question about drugs or anything that I did with alcohol here today. Yes?
How much drugs would you have to take before your mind would start to alter?
Great question. I'm going to do a little diagram here. I'm going to ask you guys to do something for me. Hands down for just a second. Everybody close your eyes for about 10 seconds. Good. Now get the picture of your favorite place that you like to go. Get a nice, clear picture of your favorite place. Well, you guys got some wild pictures out there, I'll tell you. Okay, good. Everybody open up your eyes. Great. That is what a person's mind is made up of, are pictures. To be exact, we take 25 of these pictures every single second. Very rapid fire, one right after the other. Sort of like bang, 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 all in order, all in sequence, all very well timed. How many of you have ever seen one of those old-time movies before, where they're moving all herky-jerky and weird, they're running real fast? Well, the reason that those guys look so weird and herky-jerky is because in those days, you'd go into the theater, you'd sit down, they'd take a light, they'd throw it up on the screen, and through that light, they would run about 15 pictures a second, every single second. So as you watched it, your own mind was moving 25, that was moving 15, so it looked all out of sync. Today, you go into the movie theater, you sit down, they take a light, they throw it up on the screen, and through that light, they run almost exactly 25 pictures a second, every single second, so it looks normal. At any rate, this thing records information at a very, very fast rate, one after the other, bang, 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 bang. It's constantly storing information. As a matter of fact, this thing here, it's almost like the world's greatest computer. In other words, it will take a piece of information that's stored back here. Oh, I got one. I'm going to ask you a question that you got the answer to stored back here a long, long time ago, and what I want you to do is to fire back the answer to me as fast as you can. Are you guys ready?
Yes!
Okay, here we go. Who's the first president of the United States?
George Washington!
George Bush. How long did it take you to get that answer? A 10th of a second? A 20th of a... I probably went like this. I said, who's the first president? You went, George Washington. In other words, it took that information from back here, and with incredible, I mean incredible, lightning-like speed, it gave you the answer. Without that in the middle of your face, but it gave you an answer. Okay, the only point I'm trying to make here is your mind is an incredible tool. It's an incredible gift. And as far as I know, we only have one of them, and that's all we get.
I took so much that, it really got to my mind, and, it messed my, I lost, memory.
Every time you go to school or something, your brain is just slow. You don't remember a lot of things. You forget.
Watch what happens when a person takes a drug, even if it's just a little tiny bit of marijuana. Let's say a person, he goes out and he just smokes a little bit of marijuana. The pictures in his mind during that point in time, they get kind of fuzzy. They get a little blurry, kind of foggy, sort of hard to see. Then he goes out and he drinks a little bit too much alcohol, and the pictures in his mind, they get real fuzzy and blurry and stuff like that. And each time he does that, if he, takes cocaine, same thing, the pictures in his mind, they get very fuzzed out and blurry and hard to recall. The difference in these pictures would be kind of like this. The nice clear ones that you have here, that's sort of like me giving a $2,000 Nikon camera to a professional photographer. Say, here, take me, take some pictures. And he goes, sure, no problem. Zzz, zzz. Did you. And every picture that he takes is crystal clear. Every detail, every color is very, very sharp. That's the nice clear pictures that you guys make. The blurry ones would be sort of like me giving a $4.98 camera to my 2-year-old son. Go, here, take some pictures. And he goes, and the pictures are all, they're all blurry. They're all foggy. What happens when a person tries to get his information from back here, when that stuff's going on? Let's say he studied and he's got the answer to the test back here, but he took some kind of drug in between then. The information comes from back here, but it goes, wait a second, what was the answer to that thing? We went over this last week. Oh yeah, I remember what it was. It was, okay, oh yeah, I got it. It was, come on. What was, come on. Oh yeah, all right, I got it. It was, I got my answer. I think. Well, let me ask you a quick question about myself. When I was taking drugs, and this stuff was going on in my mind, do you think I passed or failed?
Failed.
When I failed, do you think I got encouraged or discouraged?
Discouraged.
One last question. When I got discouraged, what do you think I took more of? Drugs. Exactly. At any rate, even a little tiny bit will mess up that nice, fine computer that you have. Did that answer it for you?
Yes.
Great question. Yes?
What is the most dangerous drug?
Probably the most dangerous drug there is a drug called LSD.
Oh, yeah.
And I only say that because it lasts, it has a real bad effect on the person's mind, and it lasts for a long, long time. What it does is this, watch this close, it doesn't just blur the pictures, it does something a little bit more than that. It does this. Keep in mind, it's important that all these pictures are in order, they're in sequence, so you can remember when things occurred. It takes a whole clump from here and will throw it out of sequence like back to here. Then it will take a clump from way back here and throw it up to present time like that, and all of a sudden it starts, goes, and then spaghetti.
It affects your brain and it makes you stop remembering things you need to remember in your life. I thought I was going to be cool and everything, but it's not worth doing it.
So basically that drug is probably the worst because that scrambling lasts for a long, long time. So you get a little older and somebody comes up and they go, hey, check it out, try some of this. What are you going to say?
No!
Not bad. What are you going to say?
No!
I want to thank you all for being a great audience. Give yourselves a hand. Very well done.
Getting high on life without alcohol and other drugs is the only way you can really achieve your goals and make those dreams come true.
I want to become an artist when I grow up.
My dream is to become a marine biologist and work with dolphins.
I want to go to college.
Reach my potential.
Be a doctor.
Professional baseball player.
A race car driver.
Be successful.
Feel better in your inside.
I'm never, ever, ever gonna take drugs. I'm not gonna take drugs.
I won't do drugs.